Fellas, AC here. Welcome to another video. Sometimes we don't need compliments. What we need is something to accessorize our personality. So we need a statement maker, and that's why I'm making this video. We've got lots of videos around compliment magnets, panty droppers, this and that, but very few people focus on a specific type of personality and a few type of fragrances that match that personality to augment your style statement, your statement. So this video is around niche fragrances, and I'll do another one with designers and probably combine it with budget fragrances. But this one focuses on niche fragrances. You invest a lot of money in niche fragrances, so I want to give you 10 amazing fragrances to basically augment your style, your personality. So the first one in the list is a fragrance for people who have a specific type of personality. They can be the sort of center point, the focus of any conversation. They are very well read, very well traveled. They ooze a lot of charisma and a lot of mystique about themselves. And this fragrance is my first niche fragrance that I bought. And this fragrance is called Epic Man by Amouage. This fragrance is one such fragrance which draws you in. It's a fantastic oriental around spices. So the most prominent one is cardamom and mace, and they're florals, beautiful florals, and amber and leather and smoke and animalic characteristics. What draws me to this fragrance is the immense depth and the immense luxury, richness of this fragrance. And as I said, this will suit people who can be or take charge of any conversation or any group. Not forcibly, not bossing a group, but by their charm, by their conversation, by their skills of conversation. And this is exactly that kind of fragrance. When somebody smells this on you, they'll think you've got very, very refined taste. It is slightly animalic, so you'll have to watch the sprays. Just see the surrounding that you're going to. But let's say you're going to a wedding or an evening function or a felicitation or a black tie event. It will really augment your style if you're a man of style. Brilliant. Epic Man by Amouage. The next fragrance may seem a little bit outdated or out of place. I call it the Clark Gable of fragrances. And this fragrance, again, I forgot to mention one thing. Every single fragrance in this list has been reviewed bar one. When I get to that one, I'll let you know. So let's talk about the Clark Gable of fragrances. And this one is called Acqua di Parma, Colonia, Essenza. Why is this Clark Gable? Because it is rooted in the ancient traditions of men's perfumery. Men's perfumery in the late 1870s or mid 1800s used to be all centered around citrus notes with herbs and spices, but mostly green herbs and citruses. So this is around neroli and petitgrain, two very, very common herbs and notes used in men's perfumery. But here it's been augmented with musk, cloves and florals like rose. It brings in an amazing amount of charisma and charm. So maybe old-fashioned but never out of place. It's that kind of fragrance. So if you are one of those guys who has got deep-rooted values, great manners and slightly reserved, but when he opens his mouth he really oozes his charisma, his style, his values, and that's the kind of fragrance this is. And as they say, fashion may come and go, class never becomes obsolete. This is an absolutely timeless, classic fragrance, full of classiness. It's for such individuals. You bring this out and you ooze sophisticated elegance, classiness. Next on my list is a fragrance which is full of charm. So this is very suitable for occasions and for people when you bring out your inner charm. You just charm people by your maybe sense of humor, by your conversation skills, by your stories, whatever. This one is called 1899 by Histoires de Parfums. 1899 is basically a fragrance around cinnamon and very clever use of iris. So this is, wow, wow, this is such a beautiful scent. It smells like a tobacco fragrance would smell. Spicy tobacco, a little hint of sweetness, which smells like dried fruits and very radiant and beautiful. As I said, it's one of the most charming fragrances you can wear. You can wear this to any occasion and come across as a person with absolutely stunning elegance. Brilliant fragrance. 1899 by Histoires de Parfums. Next in my list is a fragrance which basically oozes style and mystique and charisma. It's a very charismatic fragrance. It's really suitable for office wear. This is Acqua di Parma Sandalo. Actually, it's suitable for not only office wear, but for evening as well, where you're dressed up. This is Sandalo, so it's centered around sandalwood and sandalwood blossom. But it has been encased in a fougere-like sort of DNA. So lavender is there, and there's a hint of leather, citruses. It's a very, very charismatic scent. The main word for this fragrance would be absolute charisma. And when I think about this fragrance, I think about Jim Morrison. The kind of personality he was, the super intelligence he had, and the way he captivated everybody. This is the Jim Morrison of fragrances. Once you smell this, you cannot unsmell this. This is what I wanted to say. It will be an immortal scent memory because it is so charismatic. It's just one thing that you have to test if you haven't. And as I think when I reviewed it, I called it a symphony in sandalwood. It is a symphony. And as I said, it reminds me of Jim Morrison, his personality. If I had to put one fragrance against Jim Morrison, it would be Sandalo by Acqua di Parma. Next on my list is a lesson in how to make Oriental fragrances. It is known as the reference amber fragrance. I recently reviewed it. This one is called Serge Lutens Ambre Sultan. This one takes me to the palaces and the courtyards of India. This is because amber is so highly regarded in, my God, in Oriental perfumery. This fragrance takes me there, to the Mughal courts, the seat of power, Mughal power in India. But this is a fragrance you bring out when you are really trying to impress people by your style, your confidence, your just the magnitude of your personality. If you're larger than life kind of a person who is very confident and who has traveled a bit and is not afraid of wearing amazingly sort of blingy clothes or dashing clothes or very highly ornamented clothes, this will go very well. So this is an ideal one if you're having to go to an Eastern wedding or a function, even to a fashion show where there's a lot of bling. That is where you wear this with a highly bedazzled jacket or whatever. Just larger than life, really blingy stuff. But also to occasions where you don't necessarily have to show off, but you want to project an image of luxury. It's an absolute luxury kind of fragrance. This is not sugary sweet. It's very rich, deep, dense and dark amber. You should check out my review if you're more interested. It's smoky, full of herbs and spices and amber, very, very dense, thick and rich. The current formulation is no less than this, but it lacks a little bit of smoke. So, 5 done, 5 to come. Next in my list is musk, and that to an animalic one. This one exudes nothing less than power. This is all about power. He sits and he just projects power. So if you have that kind of a personality, or if you're a owner of a massive business, or you exude a lot of control over people who work for you, you should try this fragrance. Amouage Gold Man. When I reviewed this, I attributed this fragrance to Vladimir Putin. I don't think so. This is much, much more nicer than that. But yeah, what is this about? This is about florals. musk and soapy cleanliness. So musk is one of the oldest substances to be used in men's perfumery. Here it's been combined with rosehip, orris root butter and lily of the valley. So it smells absolutely luxurious. It also has this very refined and relaxed feel about it, apart from being a very thick, rich and creamy, soapy kind of a smell. This in Ambre Sultan would fit a king, you know. So if you have that kind of a personality where you exude power just by being there, excuse me, this is sent for you. This makes that statement that I am in control, I'm the boss, I'm the ruler, and I just have to be there to make things happen. This is raw power. Wear it with caution. Amouage Gold. You should check out my full review. Absolutely love this fragrance. It is very special and very, very different. Next on my list is a fragrance which is one of the most creative, spicy fragrances out there. When I reviewed it, I was gobsmacked how beautiful the scent is. Initially, it will slap you on the face and scare the F out of you. But once you get used to it, it will soon become one of your absolute favorite fragrances, like me. So, Nishane Unutamam. Unutamam is scary as F, with a capital F. When you first smell it, you think, my God, I'll never wear this. So this is all minty rosemary, waxy rosemary mint. And along with that, a severe dose of oregano. Excuse me. And that coupled with a patchouli, which is earthy and chocolatey, with amber and the masterstroke, caramel and castoreum. This is animalic, but it's not animalic as in dirty animalic smell. It just gives tremendous depth and weight to the fragrance, just like gold. Gold also has, I think, civet, and that gives it tremendous depth. Here, this is castoreum with caramel and herbs I mentioned. Wow, it smells like, sometimes, like a mint chocolate. I'm just simplifying it, but try this on. This fragrance is incredibly classy and deep, deep, deep fragrance, deep personality. Really suit people who talk less, are very well built and exude power. This is all about raw power. And you know, such people, I know a few such people, and they are really very good people, very nice people, but they don't talk very much. So you do not know much about them. But when you speak to them, that's when they reveal themselves and you think, wow, that's a great company to have. And Unutamam is exactly like that. That oregano might scare you. Get used to it and see what happens. Magic. Next on my list is a fragrance which is tremendous from every angle. It is very modern, so it doesn't smell like some of the scary fragrances here. It has got tremendous amounts of facets, very complex, and it absolutely develops beautifully during the entire lifetime. I just recently reviewed it. I do not have a full bottle. This is Clive Christian X. Just reviewed it. And this one is centered around herbs and fruits and vetiver and woods. This is sour cardamom paired with rhubarb and pineapple. Then brings in, vetiver, then woods. It is incredible, and oak moss. And this fragrance basically is very suitable for people who are really sharp thinkers, sharp dressers. When I reviewed it, I basically said if I had to give a signature scent to Sherlock Holmes, this would be it. I still stand by it. This is absolutely amazing. It has that kind of a mystique about this fragrance. This is really impressive, and it grows on you. It's very addictive as well. I'm loving this fragrance, and I think when I run out of this decant, I'm going to get a full bottle. Okay, so 8 done, 2 to go. Next on my list is a fragrance which I haven't reviewed yet, and is the only one which hasn't been reviewed in this list. This fragrance is a fragrance for the boss, the real boss. There's only one boss, and it's for them. Okay? And this one is called Private Label by Jovoy. Private Label is about It's about leather and vetiver with a very, very interesting note of papyrus. And papyrus and sandalwood has been used in one of my most favorite fragrances, which is Gucci Pour Homme. Now, I'm not saying this smells like Gucci Pour Homme, but it has those characteristics like creamy darkness, little sweetness, and a lot of brooding strength because of leather. It is, as I said, this is a fragrance for an out-and-out boss. There's also a heavy dose of patchouli. So it comes across as a fragrance of a person who has very high standards and he takes it very seriously. So even the slightest hint of departure from those high standards is going to incur the wrath of that person. This is how this fragrance comes across. It is a very high standard fragrance, but it also doesn't tolerate any fools out there. So that's why I thought, if I had to bring in a fragrance for the real boss, Sir Alex, this would be it. Private label would suit Sir Alex absolutely to the T. High performance as well. I mean, this fragrance, what can I say? I'll review it very soon. Very soon. This season, this winter, I'm going to review it. Next fragrance is an amalgamation of all the great qualities I've mentioned in this video so far. So it has the classical virtues, it has the charisma of a boss, it has the audacious sort of courage of an entrepreneur. It has all these qualities. It comes across as one of the most refined and well-made men's fragrances ever. This one is Francesca Bianchi Etruscan Water. Now this reminds me of a person who is very, very charming, and he is obviously very capable. That's why he'll climb right to the top, or already he is at the top, and all about action. When the time comes for action, he delivers. This is why I think this fragrance, Etruscan Water, is, I think, in its creation, in its scent profile, the scent of an achiever, high achiever. Guaranteed high achiever. I've just recently reviewed it. I gave it a 10 out of 10 and I didn't have any hesitation in giving it a 10 out of 10. This is basically a chypre and it's been created to perfection. There's some notes here which are quite challenging for some people. For example, Immortal. Immortal is the center note here, which has leathery, floral, warm aspects with citruses, and in the base there is ambergris and musk. Amazing notes. And as you can see, when you put animalic notes in a fragrance, you give life to that fragrance. It becomes a three-dimensional living and breathing creature. And if your personality matches the living and breathing creature of that fragrance is, it just amps up your style. And that was the objective of this video, to give you 10 ideas that match up with what you are or intend to be, to augment your style statement. I'm hoping you really enjoyed this video, and if you did, do give it a like, and if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing. Take care. Bye-bye.